Welcome to Honest Car Reviews and welcome to the brand new Honda HR-V. It has been a long time coming and the HR-V is a very important car in Honda segment because they do not have such a big segment from the get-go, which means that this HR-V needs to do really well. It needs to be a good car because it is also up against stiff competition such as the Nissan Qashqai, Ford Puma, Ford Kuga and those types of cars. Exterior wise, it is a complete refresh or completely new. Funnily enough, it is based on the Hyundai Tucson, at least underneath and some of the lines, and you can see some slight similarities, but other than that it is brand new and I'm here for it. Simple yet distinct and definitely something that stands out. I really like this simple but effective horizontal light bar and the rear lights here. Nothing fancy, but it just looks good. Very sloped rear window here. That will affect some of the loading capacity if you load over the view cover. You can see that this car is quite high up as well, so I would say that it looks much higher, much, SUV like than other competitors. So that's something that you should consider, especially here in the rear with the almost, you can see the angle is fairly extreme on the lower bumper here. The top of the range gives you contrasting roof, some interior tweaks, upgraded surround system, and if you like that, if that's something that you want to go for it. But for me, I'm more for the safety, the upgraded seats and those kinds of upgrades. But the car is very well spec'd from the beginning, and the base price in Sweden is 337,000 Swedish kroner. This is the middle spec, brings it up to about 340, 350, and then the maximum spec is at 370. But compared to the Nissan Qashqai, the Nissan Qashqai is a fair more money than the Honda HR-V. So take that into consideration. The distinct feature in the front is the grille. They haven't made it super aggressive and super big, and it's body colored. Unique and distinct feature. Very thin lights, simple but a bit on the aggressive side, lower grille. The engine, 1.5 liter petrol combined with two electric engines that powers the front only. There's no four-wheel drive available. That engine combo is paired to a CVT gearbox. The rear luggage space, quite small at 320 liters, and if you go for the top spec, which gives you a subwoofer, that will go here, and that will bring down the cargo space to just over 300 liters. So not the biggest, but it is usable and can fold down the rear seats by doing this. (60/40) configuration. The load lip is not that big, but it would be better if it was non-existent. Some tethering points and some storage on the sides, but that's about it. An interesting feature is that the door handle is mounted up here instead of down here, but the design of the door handle is distinctive enough. One thing that I should mention is that to open the filler cap, you have to go into the driver's seat and then go down here, pull it. It should be automated, but I guess having these types of features would make it just a bit more expensive. And one thing that hits me directly is the huge amount of knee space and a lot of foot space. Let's put up the Headrest, easily done. Weird placement for the middle seat safety belt. All right, cool feature as well that you can open the, yeah, I have no idea why you would need this, but I guess if you want to storage something huge, you can do it here. So it is actually fairly practical, this car. Very modular in its design thing. Not that much in the terms of storage. A cup holder here and some sort of holder for your phone if you want to charge. Honda's done one good design choice, and that is to have only the lightning port for the USB charger instead of the USB-C. That's a good choice, I think. I really like the two-tone. Makes it feel a bit more, you know, airy, because the rest is a lot of, you know, dark materials. Luckily you do have some metal to break it up, but it's a lot of dark materials. And let's touch everything. A lot of plastic in the back, but there's no real creaks, no real rattles here. Feels very well put together. The side window is quite, you know, not that high up, so you have a bit of a limited visibility outside if you're a passenger. One problem that I found when I got into the car was the amount of movement of the steering wheel towards me. I would like just a bit more. Completely new interior. Semi-digital gauge cluster. New infotainment system. And a big, sturdy, classic gear selector. I appreciate that they have manual controls for the air condition. The tactile feedback is good, but it does feel on the cheaper side compared to some of the competitors. Very easily used though. Manual controls, buttons on the steering wheel to set the speed, to increase, decrease the volume, to go into the next track of your song. And if you want to change the left side here, just scroll up and down. And then you can go back, range fuel, power flow. So right now the petrol is powering battery. And that's basically everything I need. I have my speed, I have my fuel consumption. The infotainment system looks a bit on the cheaper side, but quite well thought out. Let's go back, home. Home button is always nice to have. Let's go into navigation. Quite quick. All apps. So super good that you have quick menus, so even though I'm deep in the settings, I can quickly go into navigation or phone or Bluetooth sound or something else. I do like that they have a quick button to heat up the steering wheel. It's a car that you want to use every day, which means that I like that they don't have too complicated systems to go to Eco Plus, to Eco Minus, to, yeah, you know, it is simple to use, and that's what I want in a car like this. So I think it's time to start driving this car. Honda HR-V is dead easy to drive. Not only because, you know, it's a simple car to use, because it's a SUV, it's easy to get in, get out, it's automatic, the CVT gearbox and all of that, but because of the choices of having manual buttons on the steering wheel, the very clear analog digital gauge layout, and those kinds of little choices that I just made this a bit more usable than your average competitor. To increase and decrease the distance in front of you, you go down, you go up. To deactivate the lane assist, just press the button. Super easy to use. What I like is that since the power basically comes from the electric engines, even though the engine, when it really needs to have a lot of power, even when it kicks in, it's super smooth. When you really need to start driving, accelerating, then the petrol engine will kick in and it will rev very high. And I don't know if that's the best for longevity for the petrol engine. You can see that the average consumption right now under 100 kilometers have been 5.5 liters per 100 kilometer. I've been around 5, but I have been able to get it down to under 4. Super impressive. A very fuel efficient car. And to do it with style. Because I think that this Honda is one of the better looking crossovers out there. The steering is super light. The tires in the front are 215 Primacy tires, and they are meant to be, you know, rolled very easily. And that does mean that there's a distinct lack of feedback and grip from the front. Well, that might not be a problem in general driving, but it's very lackluster. Almost no feedback, even going into, you know, a roundabout. You have no feedback, and that's a bit unnerving. I think the Honda HR-V might be one of the best cars in its segment. Well thought out, well engineered, good fuel economy, a very competitive price. The only things that I feel that this does not deliver 100% is the rear luggage space and the rear head space. But we have proved that the luggage space, but we have seen that since the car is so modular, it's super usable. And all in all, I think the HR-V is a super compelling product with no real bad sides. And with that, that is my conclusion of the Honda HR-V.